Going on, y'all? Nas back with another energy intel, right? If you checked out my first video of the year that I put out a few weeks ago, thank you for tapping in. I hope it shifted your mindset. I hope when you watched it, it definitely made you think. Maybe not investing just yet into silver, into Zcash, or maybe not putting your money where the things I've said. Maybe you didn't get to that point, which is okay. But maybe it shifted your mindset and maybe got you thinking like, man, that is what I've been kind of leaning towards, or, trying to get, my friends and my family on, or, even yourself. You may be researching your own stuff. You may be reading and trying to just, move through the chaos and find a way out, right? So hopefully that video put you in that state of mind. Again, if you didn't go watch it, please go watch that video, like, subscribe, and just stay tapped into the energy intel as I build this intelligence hub up, for the next generation, for those like-minded individuals, and for those who want, to be ahead of all this mess and not in it, right? We don't want to be in it. We don't want to be, affected by it. We want to be away from it. We want to be out of it. And we want to be like finished with it, right? We on ownership. We focusing on building our life that we want to live and how we want to live it, right? Boom. This video, this intel is going to be about a specific, shift in mindset, right? So the last video was about just a general mindset of the year, outlook on how we should be thinking, where we should be thinking. But this one is going to be specific about tokenization, right? And the blockchain and how this new technology implements and all of it comes together. But again, before you get into all that, man, like, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, for when these energy intels do drop. You'll be the first to know about it. You'll be the first to get the drop on the intel before the intel becomes global. All right, so thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Now let's tune in. Tokenization is something that has already happened, right? We've seen it throughout the years. We've seen it with mortgages. We've seen it with stocks, companies. They put it on a stock exchange. A company in real life puts it on a stock exchange for you and I, investors, retail people, to buy into, right? There's nothing new, right? What's happening now is the tokenization of the next generation will be putting the stocks on the blockchain, right? Putting, contracts on the blockchain, right? And this is another form of that just evolving process that has been evolving and been done for years, right? So it's nothing new, right? The tokenization word is just new because that's essentially what it is on the blockchain. It's a token. You can have a token of the ownership. You can have a token of a piece of the pie, right? So it's no more stocks. That terminology, shares, derivatives and all, not even derivatives, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Essentially, the terminology for the old system of the stock exchange, for how investors used to invest, is no longer the same, right? So this terminology, tokenization, is an upgrade from that system, right? Tokenization just means placing the real world value, the real world asset, RWA, onto the blockchain, which becomes the token. So let's say a house, right? A house that is worth $250,000, right? Let's just say a house worth $250,000. That house has a deed. That house has a contract and all of the things that go into purchasing a home, who sold the home, who financed the home, who built, like, all these things go into this pretty much kind of history of the home, right? But imagine that home been, for years and years and years, and, papers may have got lost over time, documents may have got changed, in some situations forged, so the papers aren't even real. The ownership isn't even legit. That has been happening and been cases in the old system. Now, tokenization, this $250,000 home can be placed on the blockchain as a token, as a real world asset now on the blockchain as a digital asset. So that token that represents the ownership to the home, the token that represents the seller to the buyer, the token that represents the deed, like these things goes into the tokenization that will make it a better, smoother, quicker process to look up this information and to fact check it, to not have to guess or not have to, wonder if it's a real signature or not. Once it's on the blockchain, whoever has that token and whoever is the receiver end and the sender end, those are the only parties that should be involved in that, connection, right? So if I want to sell it to you, I just sold it to you, and I know you just bought it from me. That's it. No banks need to know, no third outside parties need to know. We don't need all the extra to make this process simple between me and you, the buyer, the seller, right? And that's essentially what it is, right? So I'm gonna let my guy share some of his information, right? As I'm doing my research, I come across research, I learn, I'm still learning and getting my information knowledge up so I can share with you guys so we can better understand all of this, right? So I'm gonna play this clip, and he's basically breaking it down in a more, structured way. Hopefully you understand a little bit more when he explained it. If I didn't get to you in the best way, right? In this video. So I'll see you after you watch it.
Tokenization, which may not be familiar to everyone tuning in, is basically digitizing assets so that you can actually trade it on a financial market. That type of tokenization has been the history of financial market innovation since inception. Like Wall Street tokenized mortgages a long time ago. And what hasn't been tokenized just yet are things like homes or legal documents, or even, attempts at artwork. That I think is all technologically possible, but people who make money off keeping it off financial transactions are the ones preventing it.
All right, y'all. So as you can see, Tom Lee, also understands this tokenization. He also sees that it's possible and a future in it, right? But if you paid attention to what he said at the end, it's people with money who don't want that to happen that will try to keep that from happening, right? So they understand it. They understand the new technology, but they are now trying to, make regulations, they want to block it. They don't want people to have this access, right? Even though they cannot stop it. The technology of tokenization, they did not create. It is an evolving process that they either have to get with themselves or watch a system take over the old, ways of life and money and transactions, right? So I really, if you gotta go back and watch that again, just skip, go back a few and regurgitate it again, and then just play this rest of this video off, because this is an opportunity for us, again, the Gen Z, the new adults, to have an opportunity, to have hope. This is our hope, to realize that all of the assets, all of these big world, real world assets that we thought we could never get, that we could never attain, that we was mad at our parents for not obtaining, this is our time to obtain it, right? We need to not keep being mad at what our parents and what our ancestors and previous people did not do. And we need to shift our mindset so we see the opportunities on what we can do. If you want to get silver or gold right now, you can get silver or gold as the tokenized stock or the tokenized asset, right? So if you cannot get to the silver physical, you cannot get to the coin shop to buy your bars and all of these things, that's okay. You do not have to miss out on the opportunity that others are gaining value in, right? So just because you do not have the bars in your hand or the bars in your closet or in your room, or the coins in a book, does not mean you cannot still have some of that digital value, the value period, but you can have it in the digital form because it is a tokenization of the real world asset, and it's backed 1-to-1. So what that means is, hey Nas, if I buy it digital, does that actually mean I have silver? Yes, it does. Because if you have it in the digital form, there's ways where you can convert it back into the real form, right? And here's the best part. Tokenization is a real thing. So just like you converted it from the digital to the physical, now that's more digital for somebody to buy that's still in 1-to-1 as the physical. So when you sell your digital and go buy physical from somebody, they may be like, well, now I want your physical after you just gave me, well, that's the thing. I want your digital in exchange for this physical, right? So it's an understanding of it's mutually valued. It's just one form is different than the other. The biggest thing is, and I hope most people understand why this would be the biggest thing, with physical, it's harder to get, harder to travel with, and harder to sell, period. You have to physically take the physical and go sell it. If you don't have the seller, you cannot sell it. If you don't have a place to store it, it will be hard to keep safe, right? With tokenization, it's quicker, it's cheaper, and it's faster to sell, to buy, to get rid of, to exchange. You get me? We no more slow times. We no more, we gotta wait a week. We gotta wait for shipment. We gotta wait. We are at the technology and the timing where if we want to get silver today, we can get it. If we want to sell it the next day, you can sell it. But you have to understand how and why this is possible so you can understand how and why to do it. And that's tokenization. After you watch this video, I want you guys to go research tokenization on your own. Go search real world assets, RWA, and see and understand how your government is looking into it. The American, whether you're American or outside of America, go understand tokenization and these terms so that way you can not feel like you are, being farther away from the value and the assets of this world, but you're like this close to it because you know about tokenization now. All right, y'all. So another energy intel. I'm out. Please like, subscribe, keep the flow going, and I wish you guys a good rest of January. And I hope to see you guys learning about these topics that I'm sharing. Again, if you got any questions, reach out to me, place them in the comments, message me, get at me. We're here to learn, grow, and scale up to what we're always meant to be. Great.